see it as a skill. Don't beat yourself up if you have a bad day, and just, as you say, see it as a cycle. Keep practicing and keep practicing that skill, and before you know it, and that's what I found, is new habits are formed almost by accident. Is how it feels. So just
Hello and welcome everyone. Today I'm with the lovely Kerry, who I also met in Lisbon a year and a half ago. 2 years. Wow, time flies. And it's been lovely to follow her journey, and I'm excited for her as well to share about Akeno. Akeno, right? Adventure?
Akeno, yes.
Akeno,
Bright and
yes.
shiny days, yes.
Ah, beautiful. And so thank you, Kerry, for joining today's conversation. And yeah, I leave it over to you to share a little bit about what self-worth has perhaps brought you and how you got onto this journey.
Sure, thanks, Manda. So I guess my self-worth journey started maybe 5 years ago, just over 5 years ago. And a colleague I was working with had recommended John Nyland to me. So I started following him and some of the work that he was doing. Was fascinated, and I love to learn. So it was great, and I was taking it all in. However, I found there was a point in my career around about the same time, which really triggered my self-worth, the journey that I started and the journey that I'm still on. And that moment was with the client I was working with. And the client was great. The work I was doing was really great, really enjoying it. So life was good. But where I'd started with that client, where I'd started on the journey, was a very narrow scope. So the work that I was doing was very, very contained. And as I say, the scope that I was required to deliver was very narrow. And as such, a rate, so in terms of money, was agreed for that work. And it was fine. But then as the years progressed, and it was years, and it came that I was working with this client in different capacities for about 3 or 4 years, all told. In that time, as is the nature, the scope grew. And of course, the value that I was bringing, and I knew from the work I was doing and listening with John, I knew that I was bringing value to the client and to the projects that I was working on. However, what didn't change with the growing scope and the growing value was the growing rate. And so from the money side of things, which, and money does make the world go round, it was still quite, it was quite low, really. So I started to worry, and I started to ponder about the situation. I started to be told by others that I should be looking for other opportunities because I was better than this, and all these kinds of things. But I really enjoyed working where I was. So I thought, I'm going to come at this from a fact-based perspective. I did some research. I looked at similar roles in similar industries, similar companies, and I realized quite quickly that, yeah, there was quite a significant gap in what that rate was. So I came up with a real fact-based, contextual, I guess, discussion points to have with the client. Now, the way that I worked with the client was through an agent. So I placed all this information with the agent and asked him to do his job and go and have that discussion. And I got a call that said, the boss, if you like, or the client is going to come and have a word. I thought, right, okay. So of course the worry level and the anxiety started to rise, and I thought, no, I've got this, I can do this. So I sat down and had this, again, very fact-based discussion as to why I thought that I was bringing greater value, greater context, and greater scope to the project. He agreed. He said, yeah, absolutely agree. However, I was then told that he didn't see, so there was a small increment that was agreed, but then I was told, that's it, that's your ceiling. So you can't go anywhere else. And I guess what I now realize is my self-worth, my self-esteem as well, so the two things combined just became crushing to me. And so I felt that was a rejection. I felt almost offended by it as well, because I brought together this real fact-based argument and all this kind of thing. So anyway, it was a really difficult time. So I had to make a really difficult choice. So do I stay working with this client who I really enjoy and the people that I really enjoy working with, but I don't feel valued? Or do I try and grow my value elsewhere? And of course, that's not something you can do overnight. So what I did is I stepped up my self-worth learning. So although it had been a bit of a background exercise before, I thought, no, I want to learn this new skill. And I think that's key. I think what I'll always say to people is anything to do with self-worth is a real skill. Now, you wouldn't expect to do one piano lesson and be a concert pianist. However, with a series of lessons and a lot of practice in your own time and a lot of dedication, you could be a concert pianist. Anyone could be a concert pianist. It's, you know, it's a skill. And that's, I guess, was a bit of a realization that I had at that time. So I stepped up my learning. I really thought about some new skills and some new techniques. I almost went back and revised previous sessions that John had done. I'm a real note taker, as you know from our time together, Amanda. So I was writing notes and doing some revision, like an exam almost. And I then started to practice this new skill that I found that I was learning. And I realized actually that, through practice, then I was able to build my self-worth, build my resilience. I started to do some, sounds very simple, but it worked really positive for me, was creating a really great network. So within the client I was working with, I had a lovely network within the client, but it was very contained. So I started to look outside into this bigger, wider world. I started to make more connections. Importantly, I was making those connections. One thing that John always talks about is about being interested in others as opposed to interesting, which is a really important one for me. So I found that actually when I turned from talking about me, to being really genuinely interested in these people that I was building connections with, I ended up building a really fantastic and really strong network of really wonderful people. And then through that network, opportunities started coming my way. So rather than me having to go out and find them, actually people were coming to me. And because we'd built up a relationship and a rapport, and what I say across this period of time is my self-worth was just growing. And we always use, as you know yourself in the academy, we talk about self-worth being the roots. And I think that's the thing for me. At the start of all of this, I was a pretty strong tree. People said to me, you're really good at what you do. You're a great businesswoman, really positive accolades, which is all great. So my tree is really big and it's really strong. However, the roots weren't so. So if a gust of insecurity came my way, then the tree could almost topple. So what I was then building, I was still on the surface. I'm still this strong tree, and maybe the tree is growing, it's blossoming perhaps, and it's growing even stronger. But importantly, what people couldn't see necessarily was the roots were getting really strong as well. And so ultimately what happened is I did continue working with a client because I was doing an active project. I'm really keen to finish what I promise. And so I didn't just say, that's ridiculous when we had the rate conversation. I didn't let the emotion kind of overwhelm me, I guess. I continued that piece of work, continued it through to a successful completion. By that time now, my network's building, and I was able then to take another opportunity. So I took a big step away from a regular, established client to working with a new client. But actually the scope of work that I was doing was great. The rates were better as well. So from that side of it, there was a tick in that box. But the fear that I had of the unknown, of the stepping away, and what will it be like? I guess what I would say is I haven't looked back in one respect, because since leaving work with that client, I've worked with some other brilliant clients in, again, lots of different spaces, lots of different projects, and it's all been really wonderful. However, in that realm of work that I do, I've recently actually gone back to work with that client where my self-worth journey started. And what's really fascinating to me is working back in that same environment with the same people. And again, wonderful, I'll caveat again, wonderful people, really great people. But actually I feel different because I'm back in that client with my strong roots, and my tree is still strong. And so then when I've only been working back with them a short time, and it's all been really wonderful, but I feel that I'm delivering a better service as well. I'm a better person, and I'm delivering even better value. And I think for me that's what's been most important. Of course, what I did on all of this journey as well, and the journey where you and I met, and we were doing some work with the academy, and I was learning a new skill and some personal development. And what that's actually encouraged me to do, as well as developing my current career working under Akeno, and what I do under the Akeno banner, is it's all about business transformation and improving business, often digitally, but some really great, exciting innovation projects. And so that's all wonderful, and that will all continue because I love it and I enjoy it every single day. However, I've also really excitedly developed something that's called Akeno Adventure. And what Akeno Adventure is really about me taking all of my learnings personally, all of the knowledge that we gained through our time together when we've worked together at the Academy, working with John, and I've now created my own offer to support others who want to build their career confidence and maybe their career transition as well. So I've realised through all of this that it's important to look after yourself, and that's what I've done. There's something I was really poor at before, was thinking about me. I'd think about everyone. And I think I shared on the course together that I have a colleague that I worked with, and years and years ago now, and this must be 10 or 15 years ago, and whatever we were talking about, and he stopped me and he said, Kerry, let me tell you something. You are a professional pleaser. To which I said, thanks very much. That's genuinely, that's a really lovely compliment. To which he said, that wasn't a compliment. It was an observation. You try to please everyone else and you don't look after yourself. Correct. I think I guess is in a bit of a, okay, I get that. And so what I've realised now through the self-worth piece, that if I'm strong and my self-worth is strong, I'm a better person for others. So therefore the pleasing part that I enjoy comes naturally. However, what this Akeno Adventure has allowed me to do is actually to create, I just say, a support service and a support package in order to help others who may be feeling where I was 5 years ago. And in fact, this whole journey just started by, I was working with clients in my day job, my Akeno job. This is kind of my post that client, so I'm in my new world, if you like, and I'm really thriving, and I'm having great fun, in all honesty. I'm really enjoying what I do. And what I realized, in fact, what clients told me, was that the one thing they said to me, again, a bit of a moment, you're really good at this. And I said, thank you, because it's always lovely to get a compliment, isn't it? It's, it's that warm, fuzzy feeling we get. That's really nice. But what this, in particular, this client said to me, no, we get that you're really good at the day job stuff. That's fine. You wouldn't be here if you weren't good at the day job. But actually what you're doing is you're supporting us, you're coaching us, you're guiding us, you're being a mentor for us. And in fact, this one person I was talking to in a one-to-one, and was having some challenges in her own career, and she said to me, you're like my career angel. And I thought, oh, that's nice. And it was kind of, it sparked a moment, and that's what it was just a moment. But again, through my own self-worth, I was able to see past that as a fleeting compliment, a quick boost to the self-esteem, a bit like adrenaline, a quick boost and it comes back down. What it actually did is it came in, and it really caught me, I suppose. I thought, wow, I've made a really positive difference to this person. And then I started thinking back to other people, and over the coming year or so, I realized actually I've helped, and I'm helping as well, lots of people in this world who are struggling with, I just say, it could be career confidence, it could be about doing more in a chosen career. And there's been people that I've supported who have wanted to jump career completely, so they are completely bored on their current journey and they want a new adventure. And like I always say, adventures, and the reason why I came up with the name Akeno Adventure is because the way I see it, adventures can seem really scary. And I think if you don't know where you're going, and you've got all these different routes and you don't know which path to take, and if I take the path, what if it's the wrong one, and all this kind of thing, is that they can be scary, and that's correct. Having been there, it can be really scary. However, it can be really fun as well. And with the right guide and with the right support, then it can be really, really successful too. So for me, in quite a short time, really, I went from being in a position where I was really struggling. As I say, I'm looking around others and I'm thinking, should I even be here if I'm not valued? And all these really negative things, which can be really crushing. And I guess, to state the obvious, we all spend an extraordinary amount of time at work. If we look at a day, a week,
yeah,
huge amount of our time is at work. So again, what I'm saying as part of the Akeno Adventure is work, our careers, should be nothing less than something which makes us happy. So that's really the starting point. And at that time, I realised, thankfully, I wasn't happy. Otherwise, I would have carried on the path that I was taking, and who knows where I'd be now. We don't know. But because I was able to almost stop on my path, review, kind of analyse what's happening around me, learn. Most importantly, it was about learning, listening, sharing. I was able to grow my self-worth roots, and yeah, I've managed to grow into, not only grow my current business in a fantastic way that I'm really proud of, but also then grow this new Akeno adventure, which is really exciting. So I'm working with clients already, and for me the biggest motivator is when I have a session, of course in an environment like this at the moment on Zoom. I have a session with my clients, and when I hear that I'm making a positive difference to them, or rather when they say that, I say that we are making a positive difference, and it's a real joint effort. Just, it makes me happy, and I think ultimately that's what it's all about.
Wow, what a beautiful rounded up journey. Thank you for sharing. Yeah, it's powerful, and definitely what you say, how work is so important in our lives, for sure. Waking up not being excited to spend the next, say, 4, 5, 6 hours at work and dreading and having those thoughts, I can imagine. Because we're now, I guess, focused on the more terrain of work, career, money, I guess, is a part of it. Do you feel your self-worth has shifted and changed in any of the other terrains as well?
Yeah, I guess for me is and something I shared obviously when we were together on the course, is that one area I've always struggled with in terms of a way of life, I suppose, is actually being Kerry, is being me. So Kerry without all of the work caps on. So as you probably gathered, you're right, career and work, really passionate about. I really fortunate to love what I do. I've had a fantastic career, met brilliant people, and exactly because I'm so confident and so comfortable in that way, that if you said to me, Kerry, got a surprise for you, 10 minutes after we finish today's session, you have to jump on a stage and do a really important talk to 1,000 people. If only we could have 1,000 people in one room. But if you have to do a talk to 1,000 people on a specific subject with no prep, go, I'd say, yeah, that's fine. No problem at all. That's okay. Because that's my area, that's my confidence. Now, if you said to me, Kerry, what we're going to do when we finish our session is we're going to watch this video back together, then I would crumble. And that is, I know it probably sounds bizarre, because it could be, well, actually, there could be more than 1,000 people watching this now. But for me, it's the personal side of life, if you like, in terms of the physical being, I find really difficult. And what I should probably caveat is I am one of the least superficial people in the world. When I see people, I do not see colour, makeup, clothes, hairstyle. I just see the lovely person that is in front of me. And when I'm kind of going out, I'm just me. I'm not one who's worried about physical appearance in any way, shape or form. However, I really struggle with, I guess it'd always be the self-esteem part is what I thought it was, in terms of, oh my goodness, does my hair look silly? Does this top suit me? And all of the stuff which I guess I struggle with, because I'm not superficial, yet I'm worried about what people think of me. So on that whole personal piece and that whole idea of roots, I would say on that side, I have had zero self-worth roots in the past, and the self-esteem struggles of, the whole idea of what people might think of me. And if I'm walking down a street, if I hear people laughing a bit down the way, I'll immediately think, oh, does my hair look silly? Has something happened to me that I'm making myself look, have I put odd shoes on? And silly as that sounds, that's what my thoughts have always been. So for me, my self-worth journey continues. And I guess that's where I'm at, really at the start of the journey on the personal side of things. That's something which, in all honesty, you probably gathered, I struggle with every single day. And so I am building and I'm practicing my new skill to build all of that. And I guess one of the biggest things for me will be that when we do our self-worth week together, and when we are doing our speeches and our pieces, and anyone who might be watching this now, if you tune into my session, then I'll be on video, and what you may see is I am having an operation on my face a few days before my allocated speech. It's just the way life has worked out. And so the operation I'm going to have is likely to bruise around my eyes and my nose, because I'm having an operation right at the top of my nose, just here. And so I don't know, it might be fine and it might not. However, my self-worth, I think the measure for me is that I'm still doing that speech. I'm still excited to do that speech.
Committed, yep.
And I don't care if I have a funny looking face. Whereas 6 months ago, maybe 6 weeks ago, maybe that recent, I would have been really nervous. And I probably would have, as you say, as much as I'm committed to the self-worth week, I probably would have said, something's changed, oh goodness, this has happened. However, when my surgeon contacted me and said, we've got a date for your surgery, which was postponed due to COVID, and this is great, I'm really excited about my date. And when I heard the date, and I thought, aha, this is like a test. So do I accept the date, or do I put off a medical procedure for vanity? In some respects is almost what it would be. So this is a live situation. I'm on the phone to my surgeon, and all this is whizzing through my mind. And genuinely, as it's whizzing through my mind, I'm thinking, self-worth roots, you can do this.
Yeah.
And so by practicing the skill, I said, yes, please, I would love to have that surgery on that day. And then, as you know, when we met and we discussed the speaking arrangements, and I was able to say, look, guys, I'm having an operation. I might look a bit funny, but my self-worth is intact, so it's all good. So I take that as a huge win.
Huge.
But I'm definitely not a concert pianist yet in that area.
Well, we can't, it's that constant, that's life really about, right? It's like keep growing those roots. It's not stopping. We can't stop. It's forever evolving, forever growing. And I think it's inspiring. It's inspiring to take that step and to go out there and have that self-worth, because that gives the people that are watching, that if they've been in that situation before, motivation or that inspiration to also go, okay, maybe if Kerry does it, then I can do it too. It's okay.
It was really great. I read an analogy once, and the analogy I kind of almost spun to self-worth as well. And it was a bit like learning a new skill. But if I said to yourself, or said to someone, when was the precise moment, the precise minute, and the precise hour that you clicked and fell in love with your partner, or you connected with your best friend? Could you tell me the precise minute and the precise hour? And you'd probably think, well, of course I can't, because I've known my best friend for 10 years, or I've been with my partner for 5 years or 20 years. And well, that's the point, because the love that you have for your partner, or the love that you have for a best friend, it doesn't just happen. It grows over time. Sometimes it might fall. They might really annoy you at times. And there might be times when you think, oh my goodness, is this person really my best friend? Or when your partner isn't picking up his clothes off the bedroom floor, you might think, oh my goodness. But actually, if you both work at the situation that you're in, you both work at the friendship, both work at the relationship, then it will grow again. And that's, to me, that's what self-worth's about.
Wow.
So people could say to me, oh my goodness, Kerry, you're so confident in work. You must be like on 100% confidence every single day. No, absolutely not. It's about accepting the dips, and it's about being resilient to when you do have your wobbly moments, and you're all going to have them. Everyone's going to have a wobble. Whether you are super confident in your career, you're going to have a wobble. Whether you're super confident in your own personal self-worth, you're going to have a wobble. And what self-worth brings to me is the ability, with the strong roots, to right myself. And so like a tree with strong roots, you can have the wildest gust of wind that can come through, and the strongest rainstorm. And of course, I'm based in the UK, and of course, Amanda, we get loads of that over here, weather-wise. And so the self-worth roots allows that tree to still stand. And sometimes you might lose a bit of your blossom, but that's fine, because it can grow back.
Go back. Cycles. Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely.
That's so beautiful, and I think it's a beautiful ending as well to this conversation. As generally I asked, like, what's a piece of advice that you give, but I feel that that is already something very potent and powerful. So thank you for sharing, and especially the piece about the relationship and that look back into that moment. It's like, wait, yeah, that's so true. I love it. I love it. Is there anything else that you do wish to share? Um,
I don't think, I mean, for me, it's just been really wonderful. I thank you, Amanda, for taking your time to do this work with us for the Self-Worth Week. And so I would just, encourage anyone who doesn't know what self-worth is, or they think they know what self-worth is, really just to become engaged and to, as I say, the passing, I guess the ending comment I would give, the closing comment would be just to see it as a skill. Don't beat yourself up if you have a bad day,
mm,
and just, as you say, see it as a cycle. Keep practicing and keep
mm,
practicing that skill, and before you know it, and that's what I found, is new habits are formed almost by accident.
yeah.
Is how it feels. So
Mm,
just stick with it.
mm. Beautiful. Thank you. And for anyone that wants to get in touch with Kerry, career-wise, wanting to make a transition in their lives, then I will leave her details below in the video. And I look forward to seeing you on the Self-Worth Awareness Week in February 2021. It's coming up so soon. Bye bye, everyone. Take care.
Thank you. Bye bye.